Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
I admittedly didn't pay that much attention to Shonn Greene before the NFL draft last season. But after Greene was selected to the New York Jets and I was going through different, player rankings and things and watching different video highlights and whatnot, he caught my eye when I watched some Iowa Hawkeye video with him and just how physical that he is and how he plays in his approach to the game, and that really jumped out at me. And I really liked him as a guy that maybe not last year. We didn't really know because in OTAs in 2009, Thomas Jones and Leon Washington were holding out, and Shonn was getting an opportunity to get a lot of work. So he was a name that was a big buzz name around OTAs. At the same time, as we got into camp, we found out, Thomas Jones, Leon Washington, they were back. Also, Greene was having some problems. I believe it was in, pass protection and things like that. So, he kind of fell out of favor. Thomas and Leon, they were very established running backs before. Obviously, they had really good seasons, at least the year before with that team. So, coming into the season, he was just a rookie. Didn't get a whole lot of opportunities until the game that Leon Washington broke his fibula, and then Greene got a great game, in that game against the Oakland Raiders. He really broke out, had a big day. Unfortunately, after that, they really didn't use him that much in the running game. They really did allow Thomas Jones to be the guy. I think that's key, and I'm going to get into that just in a second later about why they allowed Thomas to be the guy mostly. And, and Greene was kind of in the backdrop. But as we did get later into the season, Greene was starting to take over from Thomas. Thomas was a little dinged up. And then we really saw it happen in the playoffs where Greene broke out. He had a couple of big 100-yard games with big touchdown runs. We saw the explosion. We saw the talent there against good teams in the playoffs again. And that really catapulted, Shonn in a lot of people's minds as a guy that truly was up and coming. He had just shown way too much in those games on national television. And everybody knows who this guy is now coming into this offseason. Here we are going into March. Thomas Jones leaves the team. In April, they trade away Leon Washington. And, in March, they did go out and get LaDainian Tomlinson. But I think we can really say now that LT is really a shell of his former self. I was a little concerned with what they might do with him. Because at first, Rex Ryan was saying there was, some talk, well, we think that, LT would be a better team player on our team, and maybe he still believes that. But in April, there was news that finally started coming out that they do expect Greene to be the main runner on this team. And so I want to go back and talk about that time where, even Shonn Greene had some good production, and they allowed Thomas Jones to still be the main runner on that team. You look at the trends there. If they allowed Thomas to be the main runner, they stuck with the guy that they were confident with. And they also did that in the playoffs with Shonn Greene, really. I mean, they'd let Thomas Jones run here and there, but for the most part, it was Greene's show there at the end of the season. So I do believe because of the trends that I've seen with that team, they will allow Greene to be the main runner in this offense. I think that does hold true. That's not just off-season talk that we get into at this time of year. Because of that, Shonn is flying up the boards this offseason. I've seen him in mock drafts. I've seen him go, as high as maybe the 6th, 7th pick in the draft, for crying out loud. And I think that it's hard to always tell with mock drafts because, at the end of the day, these aren't your real teams, and people know that when they come into the draft. They're just kind of feeling around and saying, well, if I took this guy here, then what would happen there? You use those, it's like practice, you use those to test things out and see where you're at. And especially right now in, May, June, we're really in the early stages of, real fantasy drafts coming to a head. I don't know if he's going to go that high in most leagues. Some leagues, yes, because there's just people that, man, they buy into a hype train and they're sold out on a guy. And if you are, you are. And if that's what you really believe in, then maybe you should go with that. I don't necessarily recommend him going that high. Right now we have him as a late, top 10 running back. The main reasons that I have him for there, I do believe he's going to be the touchdown guy. I do believe he's going to get most of the carries. But the problem that I have with him right now is, one, he lost Alan Faneca as his left guard, and we're going to have probably an unknown rookie, even though they did draft the guy. Forgive me, I don't remember his name. He was in the second round. But, still, bottom line is he's a second rounder. We haven't seen what he can do, and he's not Alan Faneca, and I don't care if Faneca did have a down season last year. He's not Alan Faneca. Two, We have not seen Shonn Greene be able to put a full season together. Obviously, we've seen him have a great postseason, but also remember, I would say to you, he was, in a situation where he had fresh legs, and you never can discount fresh legs at that time of the season because a lot of people beat up. Remember, he only had 108 carries in the regular season last year, and he did a good job with that. He had a 5.0 yard per carry average, but still, he had fresh legs. And there's nothing like a running back having to start the season, with defenses being fresh from week one, getting to pound on you. And that is a different thing as you're getting deeper into a season. You don't have those fresh legs, if you will, once again, that allow you to maybe have an extra step on your competition. With Greene, we haven't seen him put together a full season from week one on. Now he has lost a key veteran at left guard, although he does still have the Ferguson and Nick Mangold on that line, and that is very, very good to have. So I do believe he's going to be productive. He's on a winning team, and everything's great. Now we just need to see him put it together. So, look for him. I think he definitely is. You lay out the names out there in the league. He is definitely a top 10 to at least, top 12 or so fantasy back that you need to be paying attention to this season.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy football.